In the show with the stories that are trending on our website and also the national dailies. And we have our guest with us in the studio this morning. But we are going to take a short break right now. That's how we do it, so that we get you prepared for what we have in stock for you this morning. When we come back, you get to meet our guest, and then we go straight to what the peppers are saying this morning. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back. I still good morning, Anambra, and you're welcome to the press review segment of the show this morning. And with us on the studio are Chris Okosa. Chris Okosa is a public affairs analyst. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, good day, what's that?
And we also have Maxim Uzato, also a public affairs analyst. Good morning.
Good day.
All right, quickly, we are going to start with the stories trending on ABS website, but we want to let you know that you can also be part of the discussion ongoing on the studio this morning. All you need to do is to dial the number displayed in front of your television set. Having said that, let's quickly delve into what we have on ABS website this morning. The first story there says, Anambra State Government commences 2023 batch 15 mandatory conversion course for technical workers. WHO supports Mr. Saludo's Pad Bank initiative in Anambra. Anambra State government demolishes more illegal structures along Chinua Achebe International Airport Road, Umueri. Okay, these are the stories we have on our website this morning. So let's start with you, Chris.
I think it's a good news that Anambra State is really dealing with the demolition in the state here, because for real, a lot of people are doing their construction right on the road, which is very, very wrong, because you're talking about development. You really need to give a space if you want to build a house. So that's what we're advising anybody in Anambra State for now, because Mr. Solution is really out, to keep Anambra to, sign his signature in the state. And I think we are happy for the development, Right.
Okay,
Oh, well, the batch 15 induction is very good because I think it's a proactive venture. Instead of waiting until most of the time you say the federal government and all that, I think initiatives should start from the states. That's where development should, because like if you start from like the local government, you get to the state and you build from down and up. But most of the time you find that most of these things are imposed from outside. And for goodness sake, I don't think the federal government knows anything about our locality here. That's why it's crucial that we should do these things locally before waiting for any manna from heaven.
Let's quickly see what we have on the first paper under review this morning, and that is the Daily Sun newspaper. We have there, Kuka exposes Buhari's X8, with the writers there, says former government officials telling shocking tales about ex-president. Imo election, poll favors Governor Uzodinma to win by 68%, other parties 32%. Nigeria discovers new crude oil grade. Reps move to probe shortfalls in oil revenue. MPAN elects new ESCO. Returns Yusuf as chairman. PDP must address cause of obese exit failure at polls. This is coming from Bode George. Tinubu signs 2.17 trillion naira 2023 supplementary budget into law. Imo, Labour to ground Abuja, Lagos Airport says no going back. Atiku drams support for Diri, Anyanwu Melaye. LASU removes the Dean of Student Affairs over certificate racketeering. Kogi Guba, APC's Odojo, writes high. Okay. Interesting stories on the front page of Daily Sun newspaper this morning. Chris.
Yeah, I was looking at the Daily News today about exposing the aides of the Mr. President.
A former
The
president.
former president, yeah, you know. You see, the problem of our country is that sometimes you point at a place and when you get there, you find nothing. You know, if they know somebody that's been exposed and that is real, you know, I say you should get him informed to get back to, you know, answer his questions, you know, because it's very, very important that, so we can show example, you know, for our tomorrow, you know.
Okay.
Yes,
So
of
you are
course.
in support of the former aides telling shocking stories, just like Cook has said, about the president.
Yeah,
The
you
former
know,
president, rather.
if we have information, you know, of course, we really know that information is power. If you have information, you know, you should let us know what's up, you know, so that we can be able to know. And if it is real, you know, it should be brought to book.
Maxim.
There's this story by the window of the Daily Sun where they say Uzodinma to win 68% and other parties to share 32%. You know, this is propaganda because I don't think we have any kind of real forensic whatever to come and check all the. So I think it's a planted story, and I don't think the publishers of Daily Sun can really say that this is not like. And I think this is the thing about journalists not respecting themselves. I have to put it as hard as that. If you want to campaign for a candidate, come out and say you are campaigning for a candidate. But you now to plan this kind of story before the elections. And this is the kind of thing that causes violence. Tomorrow, if the person doesn't win or something like that, it means that, oh, it must have been some other this. And if the thing wins and the other parties will say, look, this is just arrangement and all that. So I think this is tendentious and the people should not really do things like this.
Okay. What's also your thoughts on the supplementary budget? Tinubu signing 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget. You know we are in the month of November, and we have just 1 month to go.
Look, seriously, we thought that with all the speculative nature of the past regime of Buhari, that the person who's coming now should talk about being miserly with public
Prudent
funds.
spending, yes.
But when we're not talking about even they put the presidential yacht.
No, they said it's no longer for the presidency.
Look, for God's sake,
it's for Navy.
Forget
the Navy.
about all the Navy talk and everything. These have been there always and all these things. But people are, look, what are we doing in terms of even the same Navy defense and all that? Yacht, go and check it in the dictionary anywhere. It's about pleasure of the rich people. That when you say the man mounts his yacht on the... But the idea that you even put it there, when people are talking about hunger and everything. So I salute even the reps when they said, no, please, put this thing in the student loan. How can you say student loan 5 and then yacht 5 billion? Does this show a country that is serious? Tomorrow we are going to go and beg from China and from England. It's uncalled for.
The same rep members are the people that plan to buy 160 million naira SUVs for themselves,
No,
and they are now, you know, don't you see? They are not hypocrites.
No, that's the kind of thing we're talking about because at the end of it all, when like Achebe said, the trouble with Nigeria is leadership. These things, look, there's a concentric circle that at the leader at the top, if the leader never supported that 160 this thing, there's no way it can be put. If you insist from the one that, look, we're in dire times. But then it comes down that, okay, I give them 160, I can put you out, and they can, you know, that at the end of it all, it becomes like the common people are not taken care of.
All right, let's quickly go over to the next paper. That's the Punch newspaper. This morning, the big story in front page of Punch, off-season polls, electronic collation illegal, says INEC. Police warn NLC. INEC says IREF not for result collation. Labour leaders advised against intimidating voters. Uzodinma orders absent at peace accord. Diri, Silver clash. Imo workers, banks shun strike. And then $5 billion debt. Federal government rules dwindling revenue. Reps condemn needless loans and contracts. NPAN, MPAN, returns Kabiru as president. Emuwa joins ESCO. Obi faults Tinubu's 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget. Old bank note remains legal tender, says CBN. UK police probes suicide over British-born Nigeria. Federal government stops the electricity tariff hike, insists on subsidy. Chris?
Yeah, so you see, this electronic coalition illegal. I don't understand what INEC mean about that. Why they introduced that for our election, you know? So because that's the major problem we are facing after our presidential election. When you're talking about the electronic counting and the manual counting,
Yeah.
So because this is, I mean, if you put a policy, we should be able to follow it up, because we spend time and we spend money, to get the reality, but you see what's going on there,
So they said it's not, the IREV is not for collation of results. So what then is it meant for?
For goodness sake, we had, like Chris said now, the presidential election and the Senate and all these other things. At the end of it all, they used IREV and used all the electronic. But then in the particular presidential election, that was the crucial election. They stopped that, which shows there's something actually criminal about what they did.
Yes, sir.
Because that was then, like, up to today, the presidential election, the results are not accepted by the opposing districts because of this kind of discrepancy. How can you say an election that both elections happen the same day? This one could go up, then you're telling us glitches. Now you're trying to now come back and tell us it's illegal. Why did you, like he said, we spend so much money and also did all these beavers and all these other things? The world is going electronically. Nobody is going back to manual listing. It's not like going back to using slate, to chalk, to go and write something. And when you have a computer in front of you, do we want to join the rest of the world, or do we want to go back into the villages? If that's the thing we want, then let's not waste our money from the one.
Okay, Chris, what's your thought on what is happening in Imo State? Now, from the banner headline, we are seeing police warning NLC, and the writer there saying that labor leaders are advised not to intimidate voters. We all know what went down in Imo State.
Yes,
so,
Imo have been a drama state for all time, we come for election. But let's see what's going to happen this time around, because they are the only people that are doing election, So I just believe that we should set the example from there. And APC government should help the nation, for real. You understand? You don't just do the game of winner take it all. You should let people, practice democracy. With this election, we're all watching out there. Let's see what's going to happen. All eyes are in Imo right now, as I'm talking to you.
Like, additionally, there's this is when people say that, look, this man was not elected properly. They call him Supreme Court governor, because it was after the fact that they came and now some results and all that. And all these things, they're snowballing into violence and all that. Yesterday, they had a piece and they said, incidentally, the governor, who is the sitting governor, refused to attend.
Present, yes.
And there's this idea that, like, they said, Holy Ghost Girls, Owerri. They had their independent, 50th anniversary. And they had booked hotels ahead of time. Only for them to come to Owerri and hear that the governor has bought up all the hotels and all that. This points us to glaring iniquities. And, like, look, incumbency, when we say leadership, is APC government. If they don't want to organize elections and everything, let them tell us and not the people stop wasting our time.
Okay, still have other papers we are going to review this morning, and the next is the Daily Independent newspaper. Let's start with the banner headlines, which says trapped fund, despite claim, federal government yet to pay $800 million to foreign airlines. This is the banner headline there. And then we have the riders, Nigeria, world's highest in blocked funds, IATA. Don't reject old Naira notes. This is coming from CBN. Emefiele, there must be end to detention without trial. Court tells federal government. Grants former CBN governor bail after 151 days in detention. Adjourns to November 15 for his arraignment. Tinubu signs 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget into law. And then Nigerian banks may lose 25 billion naira to cybercrime by year end. It's a report. Aviation unions shut down Imo Airport over Ajero Imo State or Imo government impasse. Declared Uzodinma persona non grata at airports. Okay. Federal government orders investigation into licenses extension for discos. Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi Guba polls. INEC shortcoming, not enough reason to give up on democracy. Coming from Atiku. I owe Tinubu prayers because Nigeria must move forward. Bode George. Tinubu launches digital census gathering portal. Okay. Let's look at the story, MFLA story.
Yeah, it's the MFL story about the review and you still want to talk about the old currency?
No, yeah, that one is coming from CBN. Now, MFLA, I'm talking about being in detention for 151 days.
Right, yeah.
You know, without, even though they've given him bail now, but, you know.
Yeah, I think it's wrong to keep him for a long time. You know, no matter whatever the crime it is, you know, he should go to court. You know, if the court find him guilty, then he serve his jail term. You know, but what they're doing there is still drama. You understand? You know, because they know, you see what happened last time with the DSS and the prison warders.
Yes.
You know, they were dragging who owns what. You understand? So which means that he's a cake. You know, but it's not supposed to be that way. Governments should know what to do at the right time, you know. So all these things that are keeping him there is just put him to the court. If he's guilty of his offense, then you go to jail. And if there's something we can retrieve from him, we go ahead and retrieve it. You know, it's over when you say somebody committed this crime. After a while, you know, you can't hear any story about it, and the money is gone. You understand what I'm saying? So we don't need that anymore. Anyone you find guilty, you know, prosecute him.
Okay. Maxim.
Look, it boils down to, are we practicing democracy really? Look, you hold somebody, then police, there's this investigation, and that's allowed time bound. Within 48 hours, you should let somebody go, and then if you have anything against it, go to court. And if you go to court and the court finds him, this thing is media trial. I come in here and put it on the papers that this man has stolen 300 billion. And like he said, after all the things, you don't even see where they return the 300 billion and all that. It's just for media romance and all that. And they say, didn't you hear that man stole all our money that during the currency transfer and all that? Look, yes, Nigerians suffered and all that, but that doesn't mean that you should come. Even when you see an armed robber, you will still prosecute him properly. You can't come and lynch the person and tell us that it's because the crime is so much that the best way is we stone him to death. No. And especially when we say we are practicing democracy. This is not military rule. Human beings still have rights. They should be attended to by their lawyers. And the due process must not be suborned because somebody is in power. Please.
Okay, this issue of, is a particular report on the front page of the Daily Independent saying that Nigerian banks may lose 25 billion naira to cybercrime by the end of the year.
Look, the truth of the matter, when we talk about this cybercrime and all that, we have institutions in place who should check these things. Where are they telling us now that we are the persons who are supposed to? We have the police unit, we have all these things. Instead, in Nigeria, you create all these quangos like EFCC and all that, instead of people doing their proper work. For instance, if you go to any offices and all that, you do your proper audit. There is no way somebody can steal that amount of money if you are doing proper auditing. Then this is about young boys saying that they're doing Yahoo and all this other thing. Government has so much money that you can track anything that is happening. So if the authorities are not involved in these things, I don't think this will get to how many trillion and Nigeria is losing. There are people who are supposed to, it's their work, and they're being paid for these things. So it's either they're colluding with these guys in cahoots with the people who are doing the thing, or they don't want to serve Nigeria. And if they don't want to serve Nigeria, it's for the leader to sack. Because you put these things in place, we can't be losing that kind of money, and we say we're a country.
Okay, what do you also have to say about the trapped funds? I mean, that's the big story in the front page of the Daily Independent, where they're talking about, despite claim that the federal government is yet to pay $800 million to foreign airlines.
Yeah, I think on that issue, If you are owing, you definitely have to pay your bills. You understand? If not, don't get yourself involved. In the federal government, what happened to our own airlines? You understand? So we should, go back and put our house in order. If you go out there to rent anybody to do something for you, you pay him up. If you are not ready, don't get involved. That's what we say. So everywhere, the federal government is trying to go do this, do that when they're not ready, and put the bill for the people that are oncoming kids. It's wrong.
Okay, the Nation newspaper is next this morning. Senate House agreement raises student loans to 10 billion naira. That's the banner headline in front page of the Daily Sun. Yacht item dropped as President signed the 2.17 trillion supplementary budget. Senate launches probe. And then survey projects Uzodimma's victory with 68%. Roll rocks opposition. MFLA out of custody after securing bail. Banker booed in court. Old new Naira notes remain legal tender, CBN reaffirms. Bandits took 250 million Naira ransom to free 121 Baptist school pupils. And down the NLC strike fails to hold in Imo. Offices open, airport in operation. Park cut enters day 7. Power Minister threatened Gencos with license revocation. Operators to sign performance bond. Okay, and then budget, 26 contractors built away with 8.6 billion naira mobilization cash. Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi 2023, Shetima urges a vote for Silva to end the youth unemployment. Panel wants candidates who fail to sign peace agreement in Imo. Atiku rallies support for PDP candidates. Of course. Okay. Senate and House agreement raises student loan to 10 billion naira. You mentioned that earlier. Yes.
And now they're saying Senate to prove and all. The truth of the matter is that these things, I wonder what happens to our leaders once they get to power.
Now, how are you sure that that money for the yacht, the earlier, talked about, that now it has been pushed to student loan? How are we sure that at the end of the day they're not going to still withdraw it for the yacht? Because there was a report I saw online saying that the yacht has been here since April.
It's been here, so that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Will they return it? The truth of the matter is that they're not telling us the truth. This thing is just like shrouded in secrecy. And if you want to run a government, run a transparent government, where we have Freedom of Information Act and all that. But the government is defying all the things, like you put up, like when we talked about the election, you put up something, eventually you don't use it. You don't even obey your own rules. So like the yacht you're talking about, that's the danger. Because in Dume, the Senate had to tell you, this yacht is already in Nigeria. So whatever you're talking about is like the cat had bolted out of the distance and you are now talking about it. So no matter whatever they're doing, say that remove this and put in the student loan, check that they're still underhand deals about how do we now smuggle this into, and tomorrow, maybe the man is resting in his yacht and everything, and nobody will know how the thing got into Nigeria. That's the kind of thing.
And so many people are still worried about the student loan issue, because they are saying, the problem we have in our country is about implementation. How are they going to go about to disperse this loan to students? Are you sure it will get to the right hand, the people that actually need the loan?
That is the problem, because like for instance, when they said this money distribution in the markets, you go and budget something extra whatever, and you tell me that you are going to the market to distribute money like that. Then imagine this one that needs paperwork and all that. Somebody will stay in an office and Kolobi, as they say in Pidgin and in the Niger Delta, Kolobi the money for himself. That's the kind of thing we're afraid of, because no matter whatever you are talking about, unless you implement it properly, and the implementation has been the problem of Nigeria. And that's where like people like all these comedians will say, once they say something is in the pipeline, you know our money is gone. Because pipeline, you will know the end. It's just they publish it in the papers. At the end of it all, some permanent secretary and the minister and some other, and tomorrow you hear that, okay, if the person falls out of sync with the people who are ruling, You hear that the man, oh, how did the man take our 200 billion? You wonder, how can somebody take this amount of money and nothing happen? It's only when it falls foul of his colleagues or the government that they now raise it about the person. So that's the danger of all these things. It's one thing to talk about student loan, and that is now to make sure that the needy students get this
Actually get the loan.
Because at the end of it all, even the privileged ones can bring it for their families. That's the
Right.
problem we have in Nigeria.
Okay, you just pray that they, write out the modalities of which people can get the loan, and that the people that actually need of it will get it at the end of the day.
The database is important. You need the data.
All right. Let's talk about, Chris, the old and new Naira notes, the remaining legal tender. You know that in January, a new date was set for, to phase out the old Naira
one,
note.
yeah.
And if you have following the news, you understand that in some states, they have been running short of cash. When you go to the bank, they will tell you that they're not going to give you more than 40,000 or 50,000. I mean, people have started again, going to the bank, hoarding money, especially the new Naira note. Now, CBN coming out to tell us again that it still remains legal tender. What's your thought on that? I mean, the old Naira note.
Yeah, you see, even at the beginning, when they were trying to change that money, it was a very big crisis. That's where the POS operators pushed out. You understand? It's one thing with the government. You set up a policy and you can't implement it. You understand? That thing is, if a reasonable man knows that, if you cannot tell me to keep the old money when this one is not ready, you have to put it ready before you start talking about changing this one. You understand? And, they messed everybody up. Even till tomorrow, it is hard to tell us that if you say that any other time, people won't believe you. Yes, sir? So it is called what governments have to do, go back to the main house and get things ready, and gradually they phase it out. They don't need to tell anybody that they're phasing it out. Bank can deal with that. When money comes into the bank, you understand? And you got to take your money and they're not giving you the old currency. You will fade out. You understand? But when it is still there in the market, you can't tell anybody to, because it's still like a tender.
You want to add something to
Nigeria
that?
is such a country that, look, people laugh at us. Other countries do these things. They don't tell anybody, like the United States. The dollars you're having from, just after a time, the thing will be going. Nobody is shouting about it. It's like you're discovering another song or the moon, which is ridiculous. This is something that policy that will be, look, from there, after a time, you won't see the old notes again.
Yeah.
But now you make everybody run in a panic. And then they said POS guys became rich overnight.
That is it.
For you to buy money, use your own money, Nigerian money to buy Nigerian money.
I hate that.
Is it not ridiculous? But it's something that you can do policy-wise. Look, instruction down the banks and all that. Once the old currencies are coming, you have, and then you make sure you print enough of the new ones.
Yes,
that's it.
But this one is that you didn't print up to this and then you're telling us that by December you can't use it again. No, it means like, you see, we have all kinds of advisors, ministers, people who talk about policy. But at the end of it all, you find out why are they being appointed? They're just taking money away from them and not doing any work.
That's it.
Okay, also your thought on this matter. I mean, bandits taking, accepting 250 million naira ransom to free 121 Baptist school pupils.
That's when we say, like, do we have a government? Seriously, because that's the question you should ask. This money we are talking about, is it not going to be circulated within this hour? And somebody will go and pay it and all that.
Yeah.
So what is the work of our security agencies? We have all intelligence, because they say, look, if you want to do real policy, it should be intelligence-based.
That's down.
How can they keep those children and all these other things? And this entire country, they cannot locate where they are.
At this stage.
Look, there's something called Entebbe raid, when the Israelis had to come to
90
Uganda,
minutes at Entebbe.
fly how many hours and everything, and came there and rescued, and then we're in our own country. And somebody can take the government to run, and the government is paying money, because then you pay the money, and then at the end of it all, you are celebrating it. In that case, hand over the government to the bandits. Because that's what it means.
Yeah.
That if the bandits can come, small children and all that, and you have all the paraphernalia of network of intelligence and all that, from DSS to police to anything. And this will come and collect the money, and that's the end of it. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has so what does that make of us as a country? In that case, let's be ruled by the bandits. They can even give us better protection. You pay them money, they protect you.
And you are communicating with them.
Yes.
It's not like they are spirit. They are human beings. You understand? There's nothing that you can't find.
Probably they ask you where to drop the money.
And you're going to bring the money there.
And just
so I mean,
turn back.
it's just a drama.
Bizarre.
You know. So and how did money comes? How do they carrying cash? You know what I'm saying?
Because they wouldn't accept transfers.
No, nothing. It wouldn't go to the system. It's just like
cash.
You know. So it's, I mean, if you look at it, you just feel like it's, you know, the government is involved in it.
no, I mean, there's no way you can exculpate the government from when you come and do these things, and then you can come and still spend that money. Where?
Okay. The next paper is The Guardian. Inflation affects many tariffs compound Nigeria's trade woes. That's the big story on the front page of The Guardian. And then we have down there, EFCC arraigns 11 OAU students for internet fraud. Knocks at Tinubu signs 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget. Off-cycle polls, Cook attacks INEC on transparency as candidates sign peace accord. Aviation unions shun Imo-bound flights, declare Uzodimma personnel non grata. And then MPAN decries rising hardships, urges Tinubu to engage media stakeholders. LASU suspends Dean over certificate racketeering as Senate probes fraudulent admissions. Federal government probes extension of Disco's licenses, faults power privatization. LASG seals warehouse as stores at International Trade Fair Complex. Okay, and then all right, these are what we have on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Let's begin with the probing of Discos, probing extension of Discos licenses, faulting power privatization. Let's talk about the privatization of power in Nigeria. I mean, to what extent will you say that it has, impacted positively or negatively on us?
Negatively. Because if you look at it, the tariff, and we're paying all this money. Sometimes from 1st till about 20th, you won't get light, and you're going to pay your bills. You understand? So all this is government. What is government doing? If we're everywhere, the world is even looking at alternative energy. And we look at Nigeria, we have everything here. Why can't government put time? Just do this and know that you have done this for the people. Yes, sir? If you go to Ghana, you see almost all our companies are moving up out here. Yes, and going to where they are sure of the light. So, I mean, I don't know. If this is from frying pan to fire. So there's no need to give an individual such thing to hold, and, everybody is just running up and down, and you don't have light, and you're paying your bills. So who do you blame? You still go back to government.
Look, you say privatization, it becomes a job for the boys, for your friends. You distribute it amongst your friends, because that's what happened in the name of distribution. Okay, you take a Benel side, you take East, you take, and at the end of it all, nothing really works. But if we have real privatization, where you have competition, because for instance, if I travel to the United States now, you have a choice of look at what you want to do, and you pay your bills and you get your light. But in Nigeria here, you have a person who is still a monopolist. He can do whatever he likes because he has his captive area where he can always collect money and all that. If he's not giving you like prepaid meter, he will give you such extraordinary bills that eventually when he gives you prepaid meter, you will now pay back all those extraordinary things and all that, which is a crime in itself. But no, the government, there's no check, there's nothing. So if you don't want to do privatization, let's not do privatization. But if you want to do real privatization or something like that,
share it out.
Let there be competition. There's competitive bids and all that. And if you're not doing well, another person will overtake you. But this one is like, You are in charge. You are a monopoly. You know what the monopoly capital is? You can decide today that cement price is this, and nobody can do anything. Electricity, something that is so crucial to everything you are doing in the world. We are not serious. That's the truth. We are not yet ready. Because if we are ready, that's when we come. Because that part of the whole thing about putting people properly elected, so that they can be responsible to the people who elected them. Yes. But if I know that I rig myself up to that place, what is my own? I can decide to just say, look, who the hell, you didn't help me with this election anyway. I know how I got here. So, but if you have something like that, that's when you now have, if you're doing privatization, you bring people who are competent, whether foreign or from anywhere. Come in, if you can give this and if you cannot, you are switched outside the system. But you come here now, it's because some guys are part of party loyalty or whatever, friendship and all that. The person may not know anything about electricity. He tells you we'll bring in whatever from outside. You say, oh, lie, because you should know something about the business you are doing.
That's it.
Daily Trust is next this morning. After signing peace accord, Diri Silva trade words over violence, armed stockpiling. Opposition running mate Ododo signed peace accord in Kogi. Accord not mere formality, Abdul Salami tells candidate. Signing peace pact not enough. This is coming from the police. Okay, media trust chairman Kabiru Yusuf re-elected as NPAN president. 30 days after adoption, 5 infants die as 12 villages remain in kidnappers' den. War on Gaza, destruction of homes, infrastructure, war crime, UN report. 4 airlines affected as unions bar flights in and out of Imo. Despite outcry, Tinubu signs, we've talked about that. And then documents how Bello Matawale squandered over ₦1 billion for abandoned hotel services center, Zamfara government. Okay. Let's also look at the signing of peace accord. You know, in different places we have the off-cycle election. From what we are seeing here, we are seeing that Diri and Silva are trading words over violence and arms stockpiling. I mean, arms stockpiling.
You know, that's you know, it's always in Niger Delta, war everywhere. Well, if you are bringing arms into a place that you want to, rule or you want to govern people, who are you going to govern when you kill those people? Because it is a wrong thing when you use all these young people. Tomorrow you say armed robbers everywhere. But you are bringing the arms and you are giving it to the wrong people.
Empowering it.
You understand? Because if you give a man a gun and you didn't get it back from him, it's like touching the trigger. If you touch the trigger, you can't hold the bullet back. You understand? It's dangerous. So it is a thing. And even those young people that are being used, it's a very, very wrong act. It is time that we're all going to wake ourselves up. Understand? These people that are sending you to go do that, their children are not around here. You can imagine that, and you bring, a container load of arms to give to who?
Okay, still talking about the signing of a peace accord. Now, do you see that as a mere formality? Because Abdul Salami is telling the candidate that this is not a mere formality. And the police are also saying that signing of that peace accord is not enough.
I mean, it's just like we have been talking about, making a policy without implementation. If they sign a policy and said, okay, we all agree, and if you agree and you sign, you should go ahead and, defend what you have signed. But this one is just by talking.
Look, have they punished one person? All this, after signing all this accord, and eventually you find out that nobody has been punished. And even this idea about leadership and everything, it's still the federal government that at least is in charge of all this. And again, as much as they say independent, forget about anything about the independence or something like that. How can people bring in arms and all that, and it's not checked? Meanwhile, we have organs who should check all these things. Tomorrow, we hear that one customs man is coming into a coca to go and seize the commodity of one poor trader, that the person is selling the contraband goods. Meanwhile, this is will pass through our borders and everything, and nobody does anything about that. Tomorrow they tell you, look, like even part of the story, they say they go to OAU, the University of Ife, to arrest students because of
internet
fraud and all that. You find, look, some innocent students are even involved. Maybe somebody who is studying computer and all these other things,
course,
and
yes.
the person is doing, you come in here, and some of the things you should check at the level where it cannot get to that place, you will not do that. You will not go and look at the retailer who's looking for 20 naira to buy bolly, or the way they talk about it and everything. So that's part of the whole thing. We are saying they're signing peace accords. Somebody like Abdul Salami, the one they signed for the presidential elections and all that, what did they do? Even when INEC didn't obey its own laws and all that, everybody kept quiet and all. So like now they're having these off-season elections. They're still now talking about
peace accord.
This peace accord in the Imo, they said the governor didn't appear. Then you are talking about Diri and Silva in Niger Delta. Of course, the Niger Delta place have always been volatile. So you should be prepared for something like this. You shouldn't be telling us after the fact how many days to the election. By now, you should have been punishing some of the people caught doing these things. Are you telling us that what we would do? Will Chris and I go to Niger Delta and start grabbing people? And the truth of the matter is that the government is not doing enough. In terms of, you have all this police, whatever. You have an intelligence report that somebody is bringing in arms. You arrest the person. But now you tell us, I think this is spirit. The thing didn't go through our borders or anything, or didn't pass through our roads, and come on.
All right, the final paper we have, the last paper we have this morning is the Nigerian Tribune. Olubado, Ladoja, Ibado, Obas, the whole advisory council meeting. I bear no grudge against anybody. Ladoja explains why he challenged Makinde orders in court. Why we cannot increase electricity tariff now. This is coming from the federal government, and you can see the full story on page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune. We've talked about the signing of peace accord, and this is where Abdul Salam is saying that is seriousness, commitment of candidates in doubt. I mean,
so why you?
We've talked about it. Expect them to obey rules, honor accord, ensure free, fair polls. Commend INEC for adequate preparation. NSDCC deploys 22,600 personnel in Imo, Kogi, Bayelsa. FRSC deploys 4,500 and then 137,973 party agents to participate in polls. This is coming from INEC. Afenifere criticizes NAS over purchase of 160 million naira SUV for lawmakers. Chris.
Yeah, I think you know the seriousness and commitment of the candidates. You know, is in doubt for real. Because if you had what they said now, they had a seminar and the governor didn't attend there. So how do you prove? How do you tell the people that you're serious? And these are you who is in power already, you know. So I mean, these are kind of thing that you don't need to do that. Understand? So we should having a human face if we are dealing with issues. Sometimes when it is come to the public, because it is what we are showcasing is what the people are seeing. You know, you can't do like this with a walkover. It's wrong.
Okay, do you also see INEC well prepared for this off-cycle election? Because from what we saw here, Abdul Salami is actually commending them that they are really prepared for this election.
As prepared as they were when we did presidential election.
The general election.
Yes,
okay.
I think it's just as easy as that. This is only one state, but the other time it was the whole nation.
Not just one state.
About Kogi and Bayelsa.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, look, if INEC is serious, look at we're talking about collation of electronic and all this other thing. They're not talking about it's illegal. You don't know what to follow. At the end of it all, look, you don't change the goalposts when the match has started. This was the thing that gave us the guarantee when people started registering to people collecting fresh voters' cards because they felt that the policy would work. And because of the thing that happened at the presidential elections, people became apathetic. They're no longer interested in these elections because they know that INEC is not serious in terms of following up on its own rules. So when Abdul Salam is saying they are prepared to do what? When along the line you start telling us about glitches, you start telling us about So you never prepared for the things from the one. Because when you announce what's glitch or anything, that you now stop one, the glitch is in one and is not in the other. And then you're having these things about they are signing peace accord. You are not even, the NEC is not, they are telling you, police will tell you that, look, maybe this one. No. It doesn't show us as a serious people. That's the simple, honest to God truth. If you want to do these things, we should, look at something like the Liberian elections. It's in a runoff now. And you will see that this is a proper contest. George Weah is supposed to be the president. They are allowing the process to win the opposition leader. That's a runoff. But in our own particular case, they're announcing 4 a.m. That look, this is, so, and people look at us and say, which kind of people are they? And so, like, this is when now you see maybe a governor can publish, tell you, say he has 68% and syndicate it in all the papers, and eventually kowtows and everything, and they become it's childish.
All right, on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to both of you for joining us this morning on Press Review. Thank you so much, Chris Okosa, for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much, yeah.
And Maxim Uzata, thank you so much for joining us.
Lot.
Well, that's it on the Press Review this morning. Thank you so much. Our viewers at home, thank you for being part of it. We are taking a short break, but we'll be right back. Stay with us.